G'day guys, it's Wolfie here and welcome back to the pack. Today I'm going to share with you guys a bit of a speccey. This one is for the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak Special, and we're going to be running it at the Tokyo WTC 600 event. And look, it's not really the sort of tune I'd usually share. I tend to go for the more obscure stuff or stuff that people haven't really shared too much before, which is why I do things like engine swaps and, you know, really just different ideas. However, I noticed that there hadn't been many uploads for tunes of this car recently, and given the recent BOP changes, and you know, I hadn't really noticed any major ones since the Spec 2 update. So I thought I'd give this one another crack and jumped on, tried it out, did a bit of testing and realized that it's actually pretty OP for this race, and it's still probably the best way to make credits if you want to grind out credits on this game. Definitely for this event, and given that this event, if you do it pretty fast, is probably the quickest way to make money. So yeah, I thought I'd share it with you guys, and I hope you like it. Be interested to know how people get on with it, so leave me a comment, let me know how you go. I'm always keen to hear that sort of stuff, and yeah, let's get stuck in.
When you're running with the pack.
Okay, so the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak is currently available from the Legends dealership, and it's this one right here. So it's going to set you back 1.7 million credits, and you know, that's not really that much in the grand scheme of things. And for this car, I think it's probably really one of the best value cars, considering what it can do. Yeah, sure, it's not a group rated car, but you know, for things like just having fun, you know, doing some different stuff, and for grinding, it's worth its weight. And so we'll buy that one for 1,700,000 credits. And really, there's not going to be a whole lot that you're going to have to add to this car other than just a couple of performance parts. So as you can see here, if I head into GT Auto, we can put on some rims. Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm not going to leave the stock rims on this. I'm actually going to use some aftermarket rims. As you can see here, I've chosen the NK rims. And all we're going to do is pick out something that we like. So, you know, pick yourself a livery, pick something that you like that goes with your livery. And you're just going to want to go for like the smallest diameter. Increase your rim width, so widen the rim width and use the wide offset. And that's going to be it for the rims. And then, as you'll notice, there's not really anything else that you need to put on externally for this car. So yeah, that's going to be all we need to do right there. Now, as far as performance parts are concerned, there's really very few other than the tires. So as you can see here, we're under 600 performance points. We've got 590 brake horsepower. The torque's decent once you get up into the power band, so you don't really want to let the revs get too low on this car. So you want to kind of really rev it out. It only weighs 890 kilos. So the weight balance between the front and rear is 48-52 front to rear. Acceleration performance is, you know, it's okay. A lot better at the top end than it is at the bottom. And this car is super stable. Sticks to the road. So as you can see here, we're doing a bit of an interesting one. We're using sports hard tires at the front and sports mediums at the back, and you'll notice that the reason I've done that is just because they're very close. Whether you use sports hards front and back or sports mediums on the back with the sports hards on the front, the performance points are actually pretty close to each other. So we're going to use that one, and we're going to go for the no stop. Okay, so our body height adjustment for the front is set to 88, and at the rear at 100. Our anti-roll bar is set to 6 at the front and 7 at the rear. Dampening ratio compression 35 at the front, 37 at the rear. Dampening ratio expansion 50 at the front and 50 at the rear, so all the way up there for both of those. Natural frequency is 4.30 at the front and 4.40 at the rear. Negative camber angle, there's not a whole lot, but we've got 1.8 at the front and 1.6 at the rear. Toe angle, we've got none on at the front, and we have 0.10 inward at the rear, so that's to the right. It comes standard with that suspension, so you don't have to worry about buying it. Differential, it also comes standard with this diff, so we just want to make it 5 at the front and 10 at the rear for the initial torque. We want to make it 20 at the front and 25 at the rear for the acceleration sensitivity. And we want to make it 35 at the front and 50 at the rear for the braking sensitivity. Now, the front to rear torque distribution, you can sort of use it wherever you want it. I like to leave it at 50-50. But some people might not be sort of used to using the full four-wheel drive with this kind of setup of car. If not, then just drop it down a little bit and then bring it up gradually, I reckon, as you get used to the car. It does handle a little bit differently than a lot of other cars, so if it's your first time using it, just, yeah, it might take a little bit of getting used to, but you'll get it. So our downforce at the front is set to 202 and at the rear 690, so a whole lot of downforce, but it doesn't hamper your ability to turn this car. Thankfully, it actually turns really, really well because it's so light. So we've got the fully customizable ECU, and you'll notice there that the torque and the power output, brake horsepower, just absolutely monsters. About halfway up the rev range, just shoots off into the distance. So you want to rev this thing right out, so that by the time you upshift, you're not getting bogged down in the bottom of the next gear. So our output adjustment is set to 86%. We've got 90 kilograms of ballast, and we're positioning that ever so slightly forward at -6. And our power restrictor is dropped all the way down to the bottom. So yeah, look, that's also, you got to take into consideration that's going to help us to save fuel, but you still get a lot of power out of this thing. Now, we are using the fully customizable manual transmission, so that's one thing you are going to have to buy. And I've set my top speed initially at 340, but you're going to want to go through and you're going to want to adjust these gears how I've done them. So first of all, we're shortening the ratios. So we're shortening and making them closer together. So you're going to want to set it to 2.290. So they're closer together. And not only are we doing that, but we're also steepening our 4th, 5th, and 6th gears, I think it is. So just have a look at these numbers and go from 6th, 5th, 4th, all the way down through them, and just basically copy those numbers. And yeah, so I think I've just shortened the last 3 gears to make them, steepened the last 3 gears so that they're closer to each other. And you'll notice between 5th and 6th, they're slightly overlapping, which means that as we're traveling faster and we're losing that little bit of power because it just needs more torque, there's a bit of an overlap there, so we're not going to have so much trouble. It's not going to bog down so much between 5th as you cross over into 6th. So we're using just the normal turbocharger here. I always grab the handbrake. You probably won't use it too much in this race. And the brake balance I'm setting slightly to the rear. So yeah, 1 or 2 or whatever. Other than that, there's not really anything else you're going to want to grab. So as you can see there, there's only really a couple of pieces that you're going to want to buy performance-wise for this car. And of course, we're going to be heading to Asia and then to Tokyo Expressway. And we're going to be going to the WTC 600 events. And as you'll see here, it's not going to give us the option to change to any tyres. Now that's because we use the split tyres. So if you do want to be able to change tyres, just put both tyres to sports hards and just bring down your PP by adding a tiny bit more weight so that it's under 600, and you'll have that option, but we're not going to need them. And the reason we're not going to need them is because we are doing the no stop for this event. So as you'll see here, I'm going to leave it in fuel map 1 and get myself basically up to or close to my top speed. Top speed isn't going to be anything amazing, so probably around 270 odd kilometers an hour will be your top speed, so a lot slower than some of the other cars, but as you'll see, this thing is a lot quicker around the back end of this course. So all the curvy stuff, it's a hell of a lot quicker. I am wall riding just that first little bit there just to try and get myself ahead of some of the competition, because we really want to try and just do as quick a race as possible for this. If you do want to just, you know, enjoy the race and you know, race how you want to without having to wall ride that first corner, you're only going to really add about another second or so. So yeah, that's totally up to you, but we're trying to just go for as quick a race as we can get out of this one. So I'll give you an idea of what this first lap looks like. As you can see, so you know, anyone that's done this race will know that it's still pretty wet at the start of this race, so it's you know, you don't get a whole lot of traction, but this thing with the downforce and the light weight of the car, yeah, it sticks to the road. It's amazing around this back end of the course. Of course, you know, we're going to suffer a little bit as far as top speed down the straight's concerned, but that's absolutely fine. We're still going to get, you know, well and truly under 26 minutes for this. In fact, you know, 25.5 minutes is it's quite easily done in this thing. Only thing you're going to want to do, of course, is just, you know, try not to hit any of the opponents. Try not to hit any of the AI, because that will lose you your clean race bonus. So as you can see here, we get up to sort of around the 250 mark, 250 kilometers an hour pretty quickly, and then it really starts to back off around now. So this is roughly where our top speed is going to be. So I'm using yeah, I'm using fuel map 1 down the straight, and then as I get through the first corner, I'm dropping it down to fuel map 6 basically, and that's going to be the story of the entire race. Now, yeah, sure, at the start I'm going to have some of these faster cars coming through and overtaking me down the straight, but that's fine, because we're only going to take them over, and they've all got a pit, we don't. So as you can see here, fuel map 6 around the back, and I'm still going to be able to quite easily overtake these guys. It's not going to be a problem at all. We've easily got their number all the way around here, even in fuel map 6. And so as we fast forward to the end of lap 6, start of lap 7, I'll just give it a quick run through here to give you guys a look at what your average lap is going to look like. So into fuel map 1, up the straight here, as you can see, it takes off super quick, gets up to sort of 250 kilometers an hour really fast, and then tops out around the 274, 275 ish mark. This hill sort of slows you down a little bit as you're going up here, but you'll be into 6th gear by then. Don't worry about the fact that you're losing that top speed, because it's really not going to matter. You're going to gain so much time around the back of the course, and yeah, it's really not going to affect you. So as we approach this wall, I'm dropping that fuel map down to fuel map 6, wall riding this first corner right here. That's up to you whether or not you want to do that. Dropping down into 2nd and just powering out in 3rd. And as you can see, I'm revving it right up until it reaches basically just shy of the limiter, and going into 5th. And you'll notice here how quick you can get through this section under the bridge. You're just dropping 1 gear down to 4th, taking an early apex on both corners. It has no trouble sticking to the inside, sticking to the apex of those corners. I'm just little lift here and just cutting right in, very easily done. Dropping to 4th here, cutting once again in and hitting that apex and the wall. But no matter, that's not going to lose you your clean race bonus. Only hitting the AI will lose you your clean race bonus. So once again, just nice and tight, and this thing can quite easily stick nice and tight to the inside of each corner because of that downforce, the lightweight of the car, and just the setup. So yeah, around the back end of that course, it's really easy to stick to the insides of the corners. You won't get a whole lot of understeer, and therefore, as you can see, so we're at so going back up to fuel map 1 now that we're on the straight, and as you can see there, our tyre wear, you know, we've got a bit on the rear and that's it, and we're already 7 laps in to the race, even though we have mediums on the back. So if you look at our time now, we're at 2 minutes 1 2 3 4. So yeah, this wasn't even a really great race. This is my first one that I've done in a while, and 2 minutes 4, 2 minutes 5, 2 minutes 6 consecutively is quite easily done, and I'm sure some of you faster guys out there are going to be able to do consecutive 2-minute 4s, 2-minute 3s, and if you can do that, then you're going to be basically looking at sub 25.5-minute race. So yeah, challenges out there, guys. Let's see who can get close to a 25-minute flat. Yeah, I've gotten very close myself with this setup. So yeah, if you can get a 25-minute flat, let me know. 25 minutes flat for this race would be pretty impressive, I'd say. And so as we fast forward on to the end of the final lap, you can see there that I've done consecutive 2-minute 4, 2-minute 5, 2-minute 6 at the maximum laps, and yeah, but really wasn't hard to do. I did this one on the controller. I know I'm actually quicker on the wheel, but yeah, just to show you guys that it's quite easily done on the controller. There is a little bit more tyre wear on the controller, but thankfully, as you can see here, our tyre wear, we've only just really got sort of, you know, not even a quarter tyre wear on the rear tyres, and the fronts are still absolutely perfect. So we're going to come through and we're going to knock that over in, what is it, 25 and a half, just shy of 25.5 minutes. I think I've done it 25 minutes and 8 seconds or something, 25 minutes and 9 seconds, something around there was my fastest. So yeah, I'd be interested to see what you guys can do. I mean, that's pretty quick, but I know some of you guys out there who use my tunes a lot quicker. So my fastest lap was 2 minutes and 4 for my 7th lap. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what you guys can do with it, and you know, have a bit of a play around with it, see what works for you. I do think that there's possibly even a little bit more time in this tune. This is just the first go I've had at using it in quite a while. So yeah, there you go. We still got our clean race bonus, despite the fact that I hit the AI a couple of times. But yeah, basic rule of thumb is try not to hit the AI too heavily, and yeah, try not to cross the white line at the end of the final corner, and you should be all good to get your clean race bonus, I do believe. And so there you go, guys. I hope you liked that one. Go out and make yourselves a mint. I think this one's yeah, I mean, this has always been an absolutely OP car for this track and for this race. And I know while there are some tunes out there, I've noticed some tunes where you can actually get even better lap times using like comfort soft tires and wall riding all the way around and all that sort of stuff. I do think that this is probably a good happy medium, and it's probably the easiest way to make credits using this car and using this race. So yeah, I hope you guys like it, and yeah, let me know how you go. You know, leave me a comment, be sure to like and subscribe, and until next time, guys, take care, bye.
In the pack.